Well, good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining Jane and me as we continue on our golden anniversary adventure. We have been on the road now for 30 days in our cool Nana coach and have traveled over 3,700 miles to our present location in the hipster capital of the North, Whitehorse, the capital city of the Yukon Territory in Canada. Today, we embark on a 2-day journey to the Paris of the Klondike, Dawson City. Just outside of Whitehorse is an important highway junction on the Alaska Highway, and this is where travelers to Alaska must decide on whether to continue on Yukon Territory 1, the Alaska Highway, through Haines Junction and on through Destruction Bay and enter Alaska at Beaver, or divert at the Whitehorse Junction and leave the Alaska Highway and head north on the Klondike Highway through the most rural area of the northern Yukon to Dawson City. This route is far more adventurous and takes you to the top of the World Highway on the road to Alaska. From Florida to Alaska, from the East Coast to the West Coast, join Jane and Steve celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary, traveling across North America in the cool Nana coach, their 27-foot Freedom Elite Class C motorhome, as they visit the many beautiful points of interest in all 50 United States on their golden anniversary adventure. We reluctantly leave Whitehorse, having barely spent 2 days here. There is so much to see here, and a week here would have been a more appropriate visit. It's a beautiful city filled with the ambiance of the Klondike and the gold rush days of past. There are still several very productive gold and copper mines in operation even today, as well as a bustling tourist industry. Like all of the towns along the Great Alaska Highway, the coronavirus pandemic exacted a costly economic toll on all of the businesses throughout British Columbia and the Yukon Territory along the nearly 900-mile-long stretch of the Great Alaska Highway, and Whitehorse was no exception. As we leave Whitehorse, we pass by the world's largest weather vane, a Douglas DC-3 airplane that sits on a pedestal in front of the Yukon Transportation Museum. The title of the world's largest weather vane isn't just a joke. Placed on a specially engineered pedestal in 1981, the plane slowly and silently pivots and moves with the breeze so that her nose is always pointing into the wind, as if in perpetual, never-ending flight. It only takes a 5-knot wind to turn her. Bought in April 1946 by the Canadian Pacific Airlines, the plane served as a military cargo plane, a civilian plane, and later as a bush plane. In truly Canadian style, the plane was outfitted with skis so that it might land on remote snowy plains to deliver supplies. Though the DC-3 has been downgraded to the status of a weather vane, as far as the fate of retired planes go, flying forever into the oncoming wind is a pretty good last gig. We come to the Whitehorse Junction of Yukon Territory 1 and Yukon Territory 2 at milepost 894.5, known as the North Klondike Highway or the Mayo Road, and take the turn north. We'll explore the southern stretch of Yukon Territory 2 on our return trip from Alaska in August. It's about 500 miles from here to the Alaska border, crossing at Poker Creek. Just 4 miles north of the Alaska Highway Junction is the Tahini Hot Springs Road, a 6-mile paved road heading west to a favorite for tourists, the Tahini Hot Springs Campground and Resort. The route from Whitehorse to Dawson City began as a trail used first by First Nation people, trappers, prospectors, and then by gold stampeders during the Klondike Gold Rush of 1897 and 98. A road was constructed connecting the Alaska Highway and the United Keno Hill Mine in Elsa in 1950. By 1955, the Mayo Road had been upgraded to automobile traffic and extended to Dawson City. In 1960, the last of 3 steel bridges crossing the Yukon, Stewart, and Pelly rivers was completed. The only ferry crossing remaining is the Yukon River crossing at Dawson City. Another 30 miles or so brings us past the Yukon Government Campground at Fox Lake, with 43 campsites, pit toilets, picnic tables and trash bins, and water. But note, the water is not potable. The highway now follows the east shoreline of Fox Lake going northbound. Fox Lake is a waterfowl stop during spring and fall migrations. Some waterfowl can be seen in spring, and large numbers of birds, especially swans, are present in the fall. The road is paved and is not much different than many of the tertiary roadways found in the lower 48 United States. You must be alert for occasional ruts, potholes, and frost heaves, but all in all, it's a pretty good road so far. It has been a late spring here in the Yukon, and the river ice breakup and the mountain snowmelt has been late this year. We must cross the Yukon River at Dawson City, and the only crossing is the George Black Ferry, and the river is rapidly approaching flood stage, as we witnessed a few days ago in Teslin. This route could have some dire consequences for us should the ferry be impacted by the anticipated flooding, and could cause us to drive back 323 miles back to Whitehorse to take the alternate Alaska route. The scenery along the Klondike Highway is, to say the least, incredible. Immediately, a flavor of rural Yukon envelops you. The landscape is pristine and beautiful. The little salmon Carmack's First Nations town of Carmack will be our first stop, where we plan to enjoy lunch and check out this popular village. Carmack is a village in Yukon, Canada, on the Yukon River along the Klondike Highway and at the west end of the Robert Campbell Highway, which emanates from Watson Lake. The population here is 493. It is the home of the Little Salmon Carmack's First Nation, a northern Shoshone-speaking people. We turn into a pullout and enjoy lunch in the Cool Nana coach. There are plenty of birds along, with plenty of mosquitoes. I guess we'll stay inside the coach for lunch. Afterwards, we turn into the village. Much activity is occurring as volunteer members of the village fire department are hurriedly erecting a large water-filled barrier to bolster the sandbag barrier set earlier to protect the town from the swift rising Yukon River. The townspeople are understandably focused on protecting their village, and tourists at this moment are not truly a welcome sight. So we take an abbreviated drive through the town and return to the Klondike Highway to resume our trip north. We pass by the intersection for the Campbell Highway, which is the Whitehorse Bypass Road, whose terminus we passed earlier last Monday at Watson Lake. A good place to stretch your legs while driving the North Klondike Highway is Five Fingers Recreation Site. It has a large double-ended parking area on the west with picnic tables, hiking trails, pit toilets, litter bins, and a nice viewing platform of the riverbed below. The name comes from the 4 islands that split the river into 5 channels. The rapids were a danger for gold seekers during the Klondike gold rush. In the 1900s, explosives were used to widen this channel.
Please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so you won't miss our future episodes.
A sense of isolation permeates as there is absolutely nothing but beautiful, virtually untouched virgin land as far as the eye can see. We continue to the famous Pelly Crossing, where we stop for fuel before crossing the bridge over the Pelly River as we continue north. The Northern Tachoni, who now live at Pelly Crossing, traditionally led a semi-nomadic life in the lower Pelly River area. When Robert Campbell built Fort Selkirk, the site was already a meeting place for trade with the coastal Tlingit peoples. The Hoochah-Hudan people of the Flat Country started to settle there on a seasonal basis after Arthur Harper set up a trading post in 1892. The First Nations were drawn by the facilities and jobs at nearby wood camps and on the paddle wheelers. The solitary post grew to a thriving community. The Klondike Highway was constructed north from Whitehorse in the early 1950s, and Pelly Crossing was established as a ferry crossing and highway construction camp. With the completion of the road, Fort Selkirk was virtually abandoned, and the Selkirk First Nations resettled first at Minto and then at Pelly Crossing. North of Pelly Crossing, the roadway starts to deteriorate a little bit. It's a bit more narrow, there are no more shoulders, and the occasional pothole, ripple, and even frost heaves now appear. So use caution driving through here and enjoy the scenery by slowing down a little bit. As mentioned in an earlier episode, the Yukon government is engaged in a major bridge reconstruction and often replacement on the Alaska Highway. Well, the same holds true on the Klondike Highway. We find several construction zones where roadway is being improved and several old bridges and culverts are being repaired or replaced. You'll find delays as you await pilot cars to lead you convoy style through these areas. We've reached Stewart Crossing at milepost 212.2, where a ferry crossing originally existed for the Klondike Highway. It was replaced by this steel bridge in 1960. Yukon Territory Highway 11 begins off to your right just over the Stewart River Bridge. This is known as the Silver Trail, which has been one of the richest silver mining regions in all of Canada. It's a 68-mile road leading to the towns of Mayo, Minto Lake, Duncan Creek, and Keno City. Free camping is provided at the McIntyre Park on the banks of the Mayo River. The road is asphalt surfaced to Mayo and well-maintained gravel from Mayo to Keno City. Note, there is only fuel available at Stewart Crossing and Mayo. There is no fuel in Keno City. We decided to forego the 140-mile round-trip visit to the towns along the Silver Trail, as it's getting late and we still have a way to go before we stop for the night. Our destination is the Yukon Government Campground at Moose Creek, about 15 miles north, where we'll boondock for the night before continuing through a major construction zone in the morning to complete the final leg of our 2-day journey to the historic Dawson City. We hope you've enjoyed our journey so far, and if you do, please hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe to our channel. It's free and you'll receive a notice when our next episode is available. But for now, thank you so much for watching our Golden Anniversary adventure on the road to Alaska.
Arriving at Moose Creek Campground Government on the right.